When Jasmine was 14 years old, she picked up on her grandfather's piano after he passed. She was a child prodigy, already writing songs and singing beautifully about things she went through in life which seemed to be beyond her years. Like most preteens going through the confusions of growing up and angst of the world, she found an outlet to let her feelings out. Let the darkest shadows of her life shine beautifully through the keys of the piano. She was established herself as a local neighborhood celebrity, and it wasn't long until she found herself on the local news to be interviewed for the very first time. One of the questions the reporter asked Jasmine was, "What would you say is the source of your music? What would you say to other kids like you to make music like this?" Jasmine thought to herself for a second and said the first thing that came to her mind. You have to be yourself. She hesitantly said this, thinking it was the right answer to make everyone happy. She continued, "You have to know yourself to dig deep and create what's authentically you." A few years later, in her late teens, Jasmine has found great success with her music, writing ballads about depression and anxiety, resonating with teens everywhere, digging deep into their hearts, somehow knowing just the right lyrics to say and just the right chords to play. She played as opening acts for local tours in her area. All the new hype around her name sparked the interest of a mildly large radio show. The show had a series about upcoming artists and the journeys to how they're getting to where they are. The radio show asked her about her upbringing, her struggles with anxiety at such a young age, and where they think the future of her music career will go. After some small banter with her, one of the radio hosts in a jokey tone asked her, "You seem to have created a cult following, and a lot of people look up to you. So many artists have a lot of routines they go through to create the things they do. How do you do it? Is there a secret to making amazing art like you do?" Jasmine sat for a second. She thought, "No, not really. I don't think there is one secret to creating good art. Everyone has their own process, of course, but for me, I just like to be sad when I work on my music. A lot of the time I need to be. But that's not much of a challenge since I'm pretty much always sad." The co-host of the show then replied with another question. "Would you say that you're a tortured artist? Is pain and angst really important for creativity?" Jasmine responded with a one-word answer. "Yes." Another co-host chimed in. "Well, is it needed?" Jasmine replied, "No, it's not needed. Mental illness itself isn't art, but the perspective that comes from the lens always seems to be pretty interesting. I've noticed that a lot of the best art tends to seek the truth, and the truth tends to be sad most of the time. So I suppose the two would have to come together eventually. The sad truth is, the truth is always sad." As the years went on, Jasmine found great success with her music, writing songs about drug abuse, horrible relationships, and depression. The music she was making was doing a fine job of reflecting her life. She was known across the country for her music and managed to become a household name in America, something a lot of artists would only dream of. It seemed as though her music was getting better and better every year, and at the same time, her mental health was getting worse and worse. Diving deeper into her depressive episodes, occasionally swimming up to seek the surface, for therapy and medications never helped, until she came across a new experimental form of therapy. Using psychoactive drugs, she would be guided with a therapist and a trained professional through her experiences. She was desperate and would try just about anything at this point, so decided to give it a try. As Jasmine walked into the therapy room, she was asked a couple questions about how her average days tend to go, what her diet was like, how much she slept, and are you currently on any medications? Jasmine replied with short answers for all of the questions. Not the best, balanced, enough sleep, and no. Jasmine was dressed in all black like she tended to. This contrasted with the white walls and white furniture of the therapy room. She was asked to sit down wherever she felt comfortable. She found preference in the couch by a window where she lay down. The therapist and practitioner gave her some instruction and told her what she could expect from the next several hours after taking the substance. Jasmine could barely make out what they were talking about with all the terms they were saying, but continued to nod her head in agreement. A nurse walks in and hands Jasmine a cup of brownish tea to drink. She looked like she had something to say to Jasmine, but didn't. She must be a fan, Jasmine thought to herself as she sat up to drink the tea. A couple minutes later, Jasmine found herself laying down and closing her eyes as they were extremely heavy. Hours later, she wakes up feeling heavy in her stomach and a bit nauseous. She finds herself on a live late-night television show, sitting on a leather chair looking around to see blinding lights, big cameras, and an audience all staring at her. To her right, she sees an interviewer getting his sick brown hair combed before the program starts again. As the director is counting down from 10, the host is adjusting his glasses and shuffling his papers. 9. She notices a glass of water near her on a small table. 8. 7. Jasmine picks up the glass of water. As she tips her head back to drink, she's even more blind about the studio lights. 6. 5. The chatter of the audience seems to quiet down, only to be replaced by the clapping of the teleprompter tells it to. 4. She is sweating, but trying to keep her composure in front of the crowd, the interviewer, and all the cameras. 3. 2. 1. The room gets quiet, and the clapping stops. It's almost as if the air has left the room. So, welcome back. Today we have Jasmine on our show again. It's good to see you. How have you been, Jasmine? How are you feeling? What have you been up to? The interviewer asks her all of this in a very polite tone. Jasmine, trying to keep her anxiety in check like the training over the years have taught her, can't respond. She sits there in silence, almost as if she's frozen in time. Nobody in the room seems to notice. The crowd laughs as if Jasmine has said something funny or witty. The interviewer asks her another question. So, you seem pretty quiet lately on the music scene. Do you think we can expect any singles or any projects coming up in the near future? Jasmine wanted to talk about how her depression is hurting her so bad, and the pain is almost physical and unbearable. Now she can't even record any music anymore, and she wasn't planning on doing it anyway. The whole time, she couldn't move her mouth. Still sitting there frozen, the crowd suddenly gasps as if Jasmine says something of importance. She looks, and the crowd is gone. It's only her and the interviewer now, sitting across from each other at a table. The interviewer starts. So, it's been years since your hiatus of music now, and you've dropped a project. It seems to not have been taken well, though. How have you been taking the recent hate after your music have changed so drastically? Jasmine stares in confusion. The interviewer continues. People are saying that they want the old Jasmine. People want the depressed Jasmine. People want the hurt Jasmine. Why are you not bringing that back?
The old Jasmine. We miss the old Jasmine.
We want the old Jasmine.
We want the frightened Jasmine.
We want the depressed Jasmine.
We want the sad Jasmine. We don't want the happy Jasmine.
Jasmine wanted to tell the interviewer that she's been feeling better and it's been a risk that she had to take to get better. But she couldn't. Her mouth was still shut. Listen, nobody cares about your fucking mental health. All we want is the things that it can produce. Why are you not doing that? Why are you happy? Jasmine wakes up from the white couch in the white room. She looks over, and the therapist is taking notes while the practitioner is studying her intently. The therapist breaks the silence after a few moments. So how are you feeling? Jasmine sits up and details her experience in a long-winded and tired tone, almost like she's just witnessed a war. After Jasmine finished explaining the horrors of her trip, the practitioner asked her one simple question. Well, what seems to be worth it for you? Your art or your mental well-being? Jasmine replies, I don't know if I want to go and fix myself if I'm working fine. The therapist chimes in, you have to be the one to decide what working fine means.